Hey, it's me, Baxter.
And me, Jonathan.
We're here to talk about guitars that you might not have in your arsenal that you should seriously consider.
They're all Peavies.
You have the classic guitars. You have your Strat.
Yeah.
You have your Tele. You have your Les Paul.
Mm-hmm.
You might have like your sort of Ibanez sort of standard gem series.
That's right.
You know, you've got like the standards. Like let's think of stuff a little bit outside the box, but that fit within the world that are not just zany to be zany, but stuff you can actually use.
Yep.
You can have some fun with.
A secret weapon, if you will.
And I'm going to go to number one. I'm going to jump off the bat with something you might not expect, but it's a Paul Reed Smith guitar.
Yeah.
And it's their special semi-hollow. It's a core piece. It's expensive.
It is.
It's very expensive.
But it's really good. It's funny. Someone was messaging me last night, thinking about getting rid of a Murphy Lab Les Paul that they had because it's heavy. And they were like, I want something really versatile. And that is what I suggested. And I said, you know what? I don't always gravitate. Like sometimes I'll think I want this PRS and I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't pull the trigger. If I could, I'd pull the trigger on one of those because they're great.
And versatile is a four-letter word to me sometimes.
It is?
But not in this case. Because when I hear like, it's a Swiss Army knife, it means it's kind of okay at everything, not good at anything.
That's right.
This guitar really does excel in getting you that sort of the Les Paul stuff kind of, but something with a modern twist to it.
Well, it's not like it's trying to be all those things. It is just really usable in a lot of situations. It has a lot of cool sounds. They're not necessarily just copies of classic sounds, right? Because who cares at that point, right? You have all those other guitars.
Well, and that's the mistake a lot of people make in the PRS line. They'll be like, well, it splits coils, and it's going to that Strat sound. Like it doesn't sound anything like a Strat. It sounds like a PRS with split coils, which is its own sound.
Which is good.
Yeah, so I highly encourage that. I think they're gorgeous. The 10 top, if you can afford one, because it's outrageous. I love them. That's pick number one for me. Pick number two. You want to enter this one?
You got to offset it a little bit. You got to go Fender. You can go Jaguar or you can go Jazzmaster.
And they're entirely different vehicles.
They're entirely different vehicles.
Because at first I was saying Fender Jaguar. Yeah. It's like, you know, then people are like, well, it's got a single coil, but the single coil is so different.
I actually love the sound of Jaguar pickups. I have owned 2 or 3 Jaguars, which you might find surprising. But I for a long time I played with just a red, one of those candy apple red Mexican-made Jaguars, and loved it. So
I think the Jaguars pickups have a great warmth to the neck one with enough cut through, and the bridge one's not. If you dial it in right, it's not bright and twangy. It's got a cut through and a little bit of a.
It's got this bite to it though. This
bite and break up.
You know, like it's a good thing.
It's almost like they crushed Blackguard.
But you can't be trying to make it sound like your Tele and your Strat. You got to let it be its own thing.
It's its own thing.
And that's why these are the secret weapon guitars, right?
Maybe not your everyday guitar.
Maybe not.
But it's like, and it's just, there's so much fun to play. The tone, you know, options when you go to the alternate switching on them is fantastic. It's like people ignore them, like, you don't need those. And Fender often takes it out too. They're like, you don't need them because they're saving money.
I think Sean took a Jaguar to a gig the other day and didn't realize he was on the rhythm circuit. And he was like, why does this Princeton sound so good? And I got it cranked. And then he said he realized it and he hit it and it was just like, bam. But he said it was kind of perfect.
It was nice.
Right? So he accidentally fell into using it as it was intended. And
why is this so warm and tasteful?
This is amazing.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. So anyways.
Number 3 is a big boy.
And it could be your everyday guitar, I think.
This one is a secret guitar that should probably pivot into your everyday guitar. And people don't use it. They're like, oh, it's my specialty. But we think it's one of the best. Hit it.
The Gibson ES 335, or you could do like a 55 or 45, whatever. But 335.
The ES series of the hollow body, the semi-hollow, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's one of those guitars that no matter what setting you're in, like as far as like blues, jazz, rock, it always blends in. There's certain guitars, like I love a Stratocaster. That's kind of my number one.
Right.
But they're not always great with playing with other people.
Right.
The Strat has its sound. You know, like a Tele and Les Paul, those match in well. The 335 can do anything.
It is kind of a chameleon in a good way. In my brain, it's like a big boy guitar. You know what I mean? Like when I play my 335, I feel like, okay, I have my adult guitar today.
I'm a grown-up today.
Today I'm a grown man, which is odd, but you know, it could be rare sometimes.
It's and they just look cool.
They just look cool.
They look really cool. This is the expensive version of a list too. We have a more affordable one out there. But I'm just going.
I mean, all these have some
baller right now.
You could have
get the Epiphone version of it too, and you're still gonna rock and roll.
That's true.
Same for this next one, coming in at number 4, Screaming Loud and Proud is it's kind of an offset as well,
sort of,
but it's a baritone, built by this fellow named Carlos Lopez at Castadosa. This is a very expensive guitar.
It is very expensive.
It's a fancy instrument, but if you haven't played a baritone, I don't recommend playing this one first.
No, I kind of ruin you.
It does ruin you. It's really because I've played, because I played other baritones, like, I played I got plenty of affordable ones, and I play this one, you're like, dag nabbit.
Because you play like the Gretsch one or the Squire one or the Fender one. They're pretty cool, but no, the Casados is.
It does something.
Unfortunately, it's magical.
In baritone, I've found, like, whenever I have a baritone available and we're playing one, it's so much fun. Everyone gravitates and wants to play the Casados baritone in a jam setting because it's different, it's unique, but it sounds so good and musical.
It's just got that huge kind of sound, right? And I think what's cool about a baritone, right, is when you have a normal, just 6-string guitar, you kind of have that tendency to noodle and shred, and then you hit one note on the baritone, and you're like, oh wait, wow. It kind of slows you down, and you're a little more thoughtful.
That's a good point. It creates a different sort of template for you to play in.
Yes.
And it's really enjoyable. This is, again, we're breathing the finer airs here, and don't get me wrong.
Sniffing the corks. Those are great. Those corks are great.
Of course, everything's wonderful up here. Let them eat cake.
Yeah, of course.
No, but at the same point, I have had a lot of fun with the Squire baritones too.
Yeah,
it's
me
fun.
too.
Now, bass 6 is a whole different monster. It's now this list because it's different.
I love those too as well.
But it's totally different.
It's not the same.
It doesn't play like a baritone in any way. It's real. It's like a bass.
Well, you literally are an octave down from guitar.
And it feels weird. But it's fun. But
it doesn't quite feel like a bass. Definitely doesn't feel like a
doesn't feel like a guitar. Number 5 is a catch-all. This is a fun one because I would say anything with P90s.
Anything. I feel like there's a lot of people who would just preach P90s, but for a lot of average players, they've maybe like never owned anything with P90s, and they just shot. They not that P90 isn't a single coil, but you like Fender single coil or humbucker, and
yes,
maybe they don't do that.
And here's where we sort of come back from the rarities and the higher, finer worlds, like. Any affordable guitar with a P90 put into it, even if you're doing it a second,
it just sounds awesome.
It's something you learn how to play with it differently. They're hot, they're organic feeling. They have this. They don't really fit in what you're used to hearing. They can scream and belch and burp in a different way, especially that neck pickup. It can yell at you some. My thought on P90s is you got to put one in.
You can have one. I mean,
yeah.
There's some sleepers. Like we have the Noventa. We have a handful of those Noventa, like the Tele style with one P90. Why they're a little bit of a sleeper, I don't know. They sound killer. They look killer.
Those guitars didn't sell well across the board. Fender, I think, discontinued them. And if you have a chance to get one, get one. They're good, and they're affordable. Want
a good deal on one cost. We'll make it a good deal.
Yeah, I mean,
we got
seriously.
a handful.
We have like 2 or 3 left.
Yeah,
I think,
like
and they're really good. And they're great guitars. But I love a P90 on a thin line. I love it in Les Paul. I love it in the 330s.
I was gonna say sometimes in a hollow body or semi-hollow, a P90 is sort of just the ticket because it has enough sort of cut through, and that one-dimensional thing I think pairs well with the kind of woody, airy thing of a.
I liked them in PRS guitars a lot too, and they didn't sell as quickly as people like I want to have the PRS pickups.
I don't think people think about that as much with that PRS sort of.
But trust me, if you have a Paul Reed Smith and you see one with a P90 you like, you're second guessing it, they have some of the best P90 sounding guitars. Like I think they're Duncan pickups, I believe, that they're using for the P90s, but they sound great in their bodies.
Is it Duncan that makes the Fat Cat? That's like the humbucker sized P90. So if you want to try out a P90 and you got a humbucker guitar, you can always try one of those.
Those are really fat pickups.
Yeah.
They're really, really big.
They're funny looking because they're wide like a humbucker and then just the one row of magnets. You're like, oh.
For some reason, like the Jazzmaster looks okay because we're used to it, but that's a funny looking pickup too.
It is. Well, everybody thinks Jazzmaster pickups are P90s, but they're not.
It's not. It's not. And people say it all the time, and that's okay because it looks like a P90 pickup. It's not.
I just love the P90s and that Jazzmaster. The people how
every day.
Well, a lot.
If you're looking at it, it's common.
And usually we just, Yeah.
Cool. Man. It's I say that's not. It's a narrow field.
Sure.
Just to confuse the pot further. My still favorite was when someone was in the shop, and he's long gone. He never watched our channel. And he was talking about PRS guitars, and he was like, the McCarty guitars, those are built by Paul McCartney. He was telling it to his family, and we didn't correct him.
He had a great. I would
story
like to
about
know if he made that story up on top of his head, if he had really thought about that, because it was a fantastic story with all sorts of like intricate details to be so completely wrong.
And I enjoyed every bit of it.
I did too. It made me happy.
We're like,
I was glad I was
awesome.
there.
I'm glad your family learned a complete non-fact that is now fact to them.
Yeah,
it's like when Tom Segura is doing that bit about his father saying, Tommy Lee Jones is gay, because he heard it somewhere. And so Tom Segura just thinks that his whole life until he meets somebody that's a friend of his and saying, no, he's not. He has a wife and kids.
That doesn't mean anything.
My dad's been saying that I just heard it somewhere. I thought he was. I just, I like when rumors like that happen forever and ever. So those are our top 5 for the time being.
Secret weapons.
This will change next week. Now, what was that? Was it Secret Invasion, that show on Disney or something that nobody watched?
Was it the Marvel thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Was that Secret Invasion?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. Nobody watched that, did they?
Well, there's a whole. I don't think so. There's a whole like. I don't know.
I thought it was maybe Secret Weapon, but I think it's Secret Invasion.
Strange things.
I've missed a lot of Star Wars recently, so it's okay.
No one cares about
that whole acolyte thing. I've just avoided.
I didn't watch it all.
No, I refuse to let that be part of canon. So I'm done. Well, that's ours. Let us know yours, and please share them in the comments below, because it helps other people. Like, oh, I've never thought about that. And then me too. Every once in a while, I'm gonna go look that guitar up. Because I like reading through them and be like, I didn't think about.
I need all these things.
Because
you're welcome.
The Ibanez Art Core, I love those. Whenever I see somebody talking about those, I'm like,
those are cool, right?
Great, affordable guitars. It's not a Secret Weapon guitar because it's kind of like a copy of other stuff.
When I was much younger, just started to play guitar, I would go to this jam, and there was this person that played an Ibanez Art Core through the Blues Deluxe, the little tweed that Fender made forever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And then for a while, that was my dream rig. Isn't that funny how things change?
Yes.
I just thought, man, if I had that.
I think Fender still makes the Blues Deluxe.
I think they
I'm
do.
not mistaken.
I think they do.
It's not as popular as an amplifier now, but
after then I actually played them. I don't love the overdrive on them that much.
No, it's sort of
pretty kind of weird.
It's it's abrasive.
Yeah, I wish they'd redo it the same way they did the newest version of Hot Rod Deluxe.
And the Blues Juniors are fantastic. If you haven't played one,
they're great.
Awesome. Version 4, I think it's on.
I believe it is version 4.
You never know. It's it keeps changing through the years. That's it. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
Don't forget that road to 100,000. We're always giving away free stuff. We got free stuff for you every Wednesday. Not every Wednesday, when the Wednesdays when it's the month. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in here. Casino Guitars.
Live.
With Sean and Johnny. I don't get to do it. I'm leaving. Peace be with you guys.
Goodbye.